On the early morning of May 27, 1905, before Japan set out, in that solemn atmosphere, to which deity did they pray at the shrine? They prayed to the spirit of Admiral Yi Sun-sin, that person named Jinlin. The reinforcements came from the Ming dynasty, right? The name of the naval commander-in-chief was Jinlin. Jinlin was said to be a man of both literary and martial arts. I came to this small country, right? Hey, offer him alcohol and women, and quickly present the heads of the Japanese enemies. He was someone who demanded such tributes. Naturally, there would have been friction with Admiral Yi Sun-sin, who was the epitome of all virtues, right? But there wasn't any. Admiral Yi Sun-sin gave all the credit for the victories to Jinlin. So, when Ming soldiers occasionally committed acts like assaulting Korean women, the authority to punish them was given to Admiral Yi Sun-sin, because they respected him immensely. And Admiral Yi Sun-sin actually saved this person's life during the Battle of Suncheon. He was even a lifesaver. Admiral Yi Sun-sin, whenever he faced Sun-sin, he would straighten his collar and regarded him as a mentor, seeing him as a complete object of respect. So this person named Jin-in later wrote 2 letters after Admiral Yi's death. One was sent to the emperor after Admiral Yi's great victory at the Battle of Myeongyang, and the other was written to our king right after Admiral Yi's death at the Battle of Noryang. I'll read them to you as they are. Your Majesty the Emperor. As soon as the war in Joseon ends, issue an order to the King of Joseon to bring Yi Sun-sin to Liaodong and make him a subject of Your Majesty the Emperor. Yi Sun-sin, whom I have seen, has achieved remarkable feats during the years of war and is the greatest general, incomparable to any under heaven. If Your Majesty the Emperor values Yi Sun-sin and can make him your subject, then we can completely defeat the troublesome northern barbarians, referring to the Sung nation, and utterly repel them, resubjugating all their territories back to us, as he is the finest essence of a general. If Your Majesty the Emperor is concerned about Yi Sun-sin's character, I have seen Yi Sun-sin, and despite achieving perfect victories in all battles, the foolish Seonjo belittled him. And the court ministers envied his achievements, eventually appointing him as a mere middle-ranking officer and giving all military command to Won-gyun. Won-gyun, due to his arrogance, led the fleet of over 200 ships to destruction, leaving only 12 ships remaining. A flustered Seonjo then summoned Yi Sun-sin again, appointing him as the commander of the Joseon Navy, and Yi Sun-sin accepted without a single word of complaint or dissatisfaction. Once again, with just 12 ships, he triumphantly sank hundreds of enemy ships. Seeing him not utter a single word of complaint about his fallen comrades, can we say he did not possess the highest qualities of a great commander? Yet instead of repenting for their mistakes, they continue to belittle Yi Sun-sin and accuse him of treason. It is clear that as soon as the final battle ends, Yi Sun-sin's life will be in grave danger. Your Majesty, please save Yi Sun-sin's life. Your Majesty, please save Yi Sun-sin's life. If Your Majesty holds Yi Sun-sin in high regard and takes him as your subordinate, Yi Sun-sin will remain loyal to Your Majesty until the day of his death. Your Majesty, please. Make Yi Sun-sin your vassal and let him check the northern barbarians. Admiral Chen Lin of the Ming naval forces also knew that General Yi Sun-sin would be executed immediately after the final battle. Then, did General Yi Sun-sin know this himself or not? Think of every person you know on this planet. Among all the people who have existed in history, even in situations where their death was certain, right? Who have strived so hard to save their nation, right? Who have done their utmost until the very end, besides this person, right? That's why we don't just call him Hero Yi Sun-sin without elevating him to the ranks of a saint. It's absolutely impossible to understand or explain him with a human profile, right? That's why he's called Saintly Hero Yi Sun-sin. The letter he wrote to the foolish King Seonjo is very long, but the most crucial reason for writing it appears in the latter part. The middle part, which is all about praising General Yi Sun-sin. With trembling hands, I dip the brush in the ink of flowing tears. Please understand, Your Majesty. Your loyal servant Sun-sin has perished in the recent battle. The night when Sojang went to war with Sun-sin. The virtues. To rescue the commander Konishi Yukinaga, they brandished fierce swords. Countless enemy ships challenged us. In response, Sun-sin closed his battle formation and stood at the forefront. Bravely fighting at the very front, his appearance was like a dragon holding a Yoiju, ascending to the heavens. Finally, he devastated hundreds of enemy ships. Tens of thousands of enemy soldiers were thrown to the sea creatures as food, taking advantage of the chaos. That cowardly Konishi Yukinaga fled across the sea off Widow, and there is nothing more frustrating and sorrowful than this. The artillery fired indiscriminately with all their might. Admiral Yi was hit in the left chest by a bullet and died. There is nothing more sorrowful, frustrating, and sad than this. Upon hearing the news of Yi's death, they brought the ships together. The next day, they hurried to save Yi, but in the end, death took him away. I could not protect him. If Yi had not come to save me in the last battle, I would have already been captured by the island nation's thieves in the unfamiliar sea. Thus, Yi saved me from death, yet I could not protect him from being taken by death. The sorrow of losing him. It seems like Hyunduk has lost his fame, and Yonghi has lost his freedom. Why did you two leave the Emperor's treaty? I am at a loss for words. My mind goes blank, and my knees tremble, leaving me unable to stand properly. While continuously praising that there was no such general under the heavens. Finally, homeway, with the silk bestowed by His Majesty, Yi Sun-sin's body was wrapped. And upon hearing the news of his death at the waters off Tongyong, everyone was shocked, and there was no one who did not faint or cry. The sight of them collapsing in place and crying out loud was like that of children who had lost their parents to thieves. Even the most foolish soldiers under my command could not hide their tears. Your Majesty, I dare to present my humble request to you, and the goal of this long letter is revealed in the latter part. The island nation thieves, during the devastating 7-year war, trembled at the mere mention of only one loyal subject of Your Majesty Sun-sin. I implore you to honor his achievements, belatedly, by appointing him as a High Minister and allowing the grieving people to hold a national mourning. If Your Majesty does so, there will be no subjects who will not respond to such grace from Your Majesty. I could not save your most loyal subject, Sun-sin, from death. Please, forgive this humble servant. Understand that I can no longer hold the brush due to unending tears. Please understand, why did I write this letter? The truth is firm. They might have thought about cutting up this hero's body, right? Perhaps they were worried that they might mockingly laugh about it. So they decided to do it alone, exerting pressure from their position. To ensure the hero is given the proper respect, did they really have to go that far? Do people from the past know that General Lee Sanyang committed suicide? Do they not know? They know. Did the intellectuals hear about it? Of course they would know. Then, should this country, known for having the fastest internet, know even more? Or should they not know? In this book, it mentions that behind General Yi Sun-sin, in the type of writing that becomes the 3 provinces' naval commander, the general said that if a commander seeks to have his achievements recognized, it will be difficult to preserve his life. Therefore, I will die on the day the enemy retreats to prevent any regrets. He had already hinted at this to his closest aides. In the memorial writing by Admiral Chen Lin of the Ming Naval Forces, he refers to himself as someone who disgraced the country. When did this person ever disgrace the country? He said that only death remained for him, yet he had already reclaimed the land and avenged the great enemy, fulfilling his lifelong vow. In the writings of Yi Yo, who served as the chief state counselor during King Sukjong's reign, it is mentioned that people said Yi Sun-sin could have avoided death, but knowing that his great achievements would be difficult to accept, he ultimately chose to die on the battlefield. The general's death was predetermined. The situation he faced closely aligns with these words. Oh, how sorrowful it is. You all know this, right? Why must this country become one where great achievements are difficult to accept? Isn't it frustrating? If someone achieves great things, shouldn't they be more respected and encouraged to produce more such figures? In Japan, when a hero-like figure emerges, the country unites and becomes even stronger. Do you understand? Even when greater and more remarkable figures were born, they were all branded as traitors. During the time of Im Jae-jeon, General Kim Deok-ryong was executed. According to the writings of Lee Min-seo, who held a high position during King Sukjong's reign, when General Kim Deok-ryong died in prison, all the generals and people thought they could not preserve their own lives. The result of such patriotism for the country was execution. Park Jae-hoon left the military and lived in hiding, avoiding the authorities, and when the battles of Admiral Yi were at their peak, he took off his armor and helmet and was killed by a bullet. In other words, why do such things keep repeating? I will explain this country to you using the concepts of high concentration, immersion, and hypnosis. From a young age, they continuously strive with the principle of creating a truly impressive state of high concentration and immersion. And when lives that haven't proven this set a goal to defeat such a giant, you understand, right? They can't achieve it normally. So they resort to slander and do things behind the scenes, you understand. They resort to cowardly acts to drag others down, doing such devilish things. I think those who claim they have no mentor become the evil that creates such situations. It's not about falling into a black and white logic. Those who don't pursue such things properly from a young age and don't try to walk the right path eventually become evil. Am I the only one who understands this?